All right, we're live. Hi, guys.
Hi, thanks for joining
What's
us.
up?
Happy Monday. Um,
Howdy, y'all.
yeah, so
Hmm.
if you guys don't already, make sure you like and subscribe.
Please do.
Yeah,
Please do.
it really helps us and it helps you. We want to bring this content to you and for you to share with others to just spread the knowledge, the education, and this training is for anybody and everybody, whether you take Live Good supplements or whether you're a part of Live Good or you take supplements in general. It's all important content. And if you have questions about today's topic, you can please put them in the comment section and we will get to them towards the end and sometimes throughout.
Yes, we
Yeah.
will.
So this one, this training is really one
Specialized.
for Dr. Ryan because
Specialized.
he is specialized in this field. So I'm just going to kind of lead it and let him give us all his knowledge and insight because he really knows this stuff inside and out. Okay, so I mean, we're being misled. I feel people are being misled.
It's always the case.
Because this one
Special interest. Lobbying.
one special word out there. What I'm talking about is peptides. So today our training is on peptides. Peptides exposed, what they are, what works, and what's just marketing hype. And if you've been around with us, you know that we talk a lot about this marketing hype and how we are so misled as a consumer in so many different ways. And the more and more peptides are becoming
Buzzword.
a very
Mainstream.
very big buzzword. Peptides have been around. It's crazy, but right now it is like insane that everybody just wants peptides and they don't really even understand what a peptide is. They just know it's that buzzword and it works. So we're definitely going to clear some stuff up and break it down. It's definitely one of the most overused and misunderstood words.
And yet still a lot of people don't have any idea what it is.
Yes, yeah, 100%. You see it everywhere. We see peptide creams, we see peptide powders, we see fat loss peptides, we see anti-aging peptides. It's all this stuff and it just sounds so amazing. And it's very incredibly easy for companies to just slap that word on and instantly make something sound advanced and worth the high price tag, right? So it makes it sound scientific, it makes it sound biohacking, it makes it sound cutting edge.
Yeah.
Just by using that one P word. So people assume it must work better and it must be next level, so I'm going to pay for it, right?
And all they have to do, like you say all the time when they say a fairy dust or a sprinkle, all they have to do is put a fairy dusting
Right, of something
in
that
the
is,
formula, into the product, and then they slap peptide on the
Right.
bottle.
and it's some kind of peptide, which we're going to go into, like, right?
Yeah, some kind of peptide.
Yeah,
And that way they make the label claim. The label
Right.
claim gets to say peptide.
yes. So as a consumer, if you're doing this, if this is you, or if you've heard about this, you're probably paying way more for something that you don't actually understand and doesn't really work
Right.
if you're not doing it properly. So let's just talk about early. I'm just going to lay it out there because we have these right here. You're probably wondering, like, what are we doing with these? These aren't peptides. Protein, peptides,
Well,
collagen.
let's define a peptide.
Well,
but
you're
go
going to
ahead.
get into it. You're
Okay.
going to get into it.
All right.
Collagen, peptides. It's even on the label.
Please don't say amino acids or peptides
Okay, why?
because they're not. Those are free form amino acids. They're not
Okay.
linked together. So amino acids have to be bound together to form a
Okay.
chain.
Do they do anything in your body that makes them
Similar to a peptide. That's what I mean. A peptide breaks down to amino acids. But
Right.
truly,
Okay.
free form amino
Okay.
acids are not considered a peptide.
Okay, so we'll get into that a little more too.
Nor is this, right? Well, I guess you could say the collagen, but we'll get into that.
Okay. And this is not new. This peptides, like I said, are not new. Things are just being marketed differently and a little loosey-goosey. Which is why everybody and everything is some kind of peptide. So today, with help with Dr. Ryan and his knowledge, we're going to simplify it, help you understand what actually works and what actually is hype, and how to support your body the right way, whether peptides or not. And also, this is where having like a PharmD matters. This is what he's trained on and does. So it's very real. We're not just talking marketing. We're talking biochemistry, right? And we're gonna try to dumb it down,
Sure.
right?
Layman's terms is important.
Layman's terms.
Yeah, understood.
Okay, so let's go. What are peptides?
Sequence of amino acids.
Okay.
Boom.
Okay, can you like Paint the picture.
Yeah, let's paint a picture. Let's start with the most basic, which would be your free-form amino acids, right? So amino acids, they are the building blocks of protein, but before they get to the size of a protein, once they become a link of amino acids, they become a peptide. As a peptide grows in size and becomes longer, and the chain becomes longer and bigger, it becomes a protein.
Okay.
So in between amino acids, free-form amino acids, and a protein lies the peptide sequence.
Okay. Okay, so basically summing it up, amino acids are your building blocks.
Yeah,
The peptides are the short chains of amino acids.
correct.
Okay. And then protein is the longer chain.
That's right.
Okay. So here's my analogy. Amino acids are the letters,
Yep.
the peptides are the words, and the proteins are the sentences.
There you go.
Okay, so think of it like that.
That works.
That's the best like layman's terms, and I want to paint the picture for you guys. What can they do? Simply repair tissue, build muscle, create hormones and enzymes, cellular signaling. Like what else?
Just keep going, right? Everything. I mean, that's the
I
point.
mean, your
So,
body runs on them.
yes, 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 and yes. I mean, your phospholipid bilayers get formed out of them. I mean, I know that's mostly cholesterol, but like there's still, they signal the body to cell turnover. They signal the hormones, the cascade of hormone production and breakdown. There's a tremendous amount of utility throughout the body from a peptide perspective. Yes, yes. And look, even when you consume the dietary proteins, they are going to get broken down. So that's one of, and we'll get into that a little bit about how collagen happens to be just slightly different. But they get broken down into smaller segments, reduced down to their free form amino acid sequences, and then they get absorbed, or they get absorbed in smaller sequences. But then when they get absorbed, they reassemble into sites in the areas that the body needs. Because remember, as you consume something through the gut line, the whole intention of doing so is it breaks down properly, then it becomes absorbable. It goes through the gut lining or the small intestine into the bloodstream. To the liver, first pass effect, metabolism occurs, body circulates, and that's sort of the very, very rough, short version of how
Right.
that process would work.
Okay, so just question, because like trying to think of like what people marketing for their products
Yeah.
can actually get away with. So can they just like put some kind of collagen in it and like all of a sudden like they're advertising? I know ours says collagen peptides because that is what it is. But can they just throw a little bit of it in something and call it, or like protein or an amino acid? Can
Yeah, they
they
can.
actually do that and call it a peptide?
Well, it depends on specifically what we're talking about, but like in the collagen category, yes, and the protein, yes. But typically, what they would like to do is add some buzzy peptide, and then be able to put the stamp of peptide on the label. Then, right?
Okay.
It's not real attractive if you're just putting peptide on collagen anymore, right? That's not, I don't think that really grabs the attention, sort of like a
Right.
flashy skincare product that has some fancy peptide name on there, right?
Right. I mean, when you're talking about skincare, let's just say there's the GHK copper peptide, right?
Yes,
And
yes.
and skincare companies are just putting a tad in there and like slapping it on the label, or like what?
Well, yeah. I mean, so yes. So the answer is yeah. So in that example, that's exactly right. Like you don't, so the peptide market could be mixed. It's a mixed market. It could be the drug, it could be that the peptide was developed as a drug and the pharmaceutical company basically abandoned it and gave up on it, right? For whatever reason. And there's a number of drugs like that. There's a number of peptides that are actually on the market. They're just obscure. Nobody's really used them until lately because they're more about preventing disease, whereas that we've kind of seen the evidence that big pharmaceutical companies are not interested in healing people. So
that.
those peptides really aren't a very marketable drug product, and most of the insurance payers didn't want to pay for them either because, again, that cycle that they're involved in. So a lot of those are healing, and they generally just aren't touted as such. They're not educated. There's no pharmaceutical reps going to physicians saying, "Here's how we can heal your patient or help your patient," or whatever, right?
Right.
They're more interested in the sick care model that lies within the reimbursement and insurance cycle. So
100%.
so there's also peptides that were just early stage development that they just didn't see a point of going forward, or they lacked funding, or something happened that they caused it to drop off. But remember, some of our biggest drugs are peptides. Insulin is a peptide. The latest craze about GLP-1s for weight loss, all the injectable drugs, the Ozempics, the Wegovy, the tirzepatide, the Zepbound. I mean, these are all peptides.
Right.
And then the size of the peptide matters, where it breaks. But like, the FDA in the US had a rule that they promulgated that was basically anything over 40 amino acids would be a biologic, which is totally arbitrary and sort of nonsense. And then recently,
Interesting.
in the news that about, I don't know, May or June last year, the FDA kind of moved these select peptides into a category kind of under the do not compound or do not make list, which for again, arbitrary for real no good reason. And now, if you guys are paying attention to, in the US anyway, of course, but if you're paying attention now to the new administration in the FDA, they're making a
Coming
resurgence
back.
now to push to free up these peptides. Now, not all of them, and they do need to be able to demonstrate clinical safety and some efficacy, but
Right.
for the most part, if you're hearing the word peptides, probably because of marketing companies. If you're actually in the business and paying attention, then you kind of know where the FDA is sort of going with this, which you're going to see it in the coming weeks, is to free it up and make it more accessible for people. And hopefully that because what's been done really, and I don't know if I'm jumping the gun here, but what's been done by the way the government previously had regulated them, it forced sort of a black market or a gray market,
Right.
right? Because they regulated it to such a point where you're not supposed to make them or can't get them. So then this gray market pops up, which is like a direct from basically from China, like a product that is made in China that is shipped directly to the customer. No prescription needed, no real good directions, no
And that's
RX
more the
number.
gray market, not the
So
black market.
it's black market for the most part, but
And then your
it's not.
safety, safety is a
So
big
that's why it's
question.
gray. It's like, is it illegal or it's not perfectly clear, but it's a patient safety concern,
Right.
because of contaminants, it lacks the testing,
It's
and
just
these are
not
the things
regulated.
it's not regulated,
Yeah.
right? So it kind of fell into that category of gray market.
Yeah.
So, and a lot of people were getting access to the peptides that way, and it became very mainstream, and a lot of companies jumped on it through a supplement channel, which, a lot of these peptides are not bioavailable if taken orally. You cannot take them orally and expect anything to work. I mean, it's been
Right.
demonstrated that some of these peptides just do not work that way. That's why a lot of them are available in injection form only. And then you hear other crazy buzzwords, which I know we'll get into, but
Sure.
extended release or liposomal and different technologies to try to increase the bioavailability. Or, in my mind, probably more skeptical. The skeptic, healthy skeptic, says they're probably there just for the marketing claim of it. Again, because they're rather cheap. Peptides are not expensive, but they mark them up so
Right.
much, and they're very expensive as a finished product.
Yeah, and this is all happening because there's, I mean, basically our biohacking culture that's going on, which,
Yep.
hey, I love biohacking, I do, but that's where this again, peptides are not new. What's new is how we're marketing, right? That's what's changing, and that's changing because of the push of the biohacking culture, the social media hype, which we know is huge, the weight loss obsession, and the anti-aging obsession. Where people are just willing to do anything and they really don't know enough. And that's where when we do these, we hope to provide just good information to help you, make your own educated decisions on what you do for your own body and your health. You did go into the types.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, you have your injectable, you have your oral, and you
Mm-hmm.
have your topical.
Mm-hmm.
Extended release goes under the oral,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And not all peptides function the same way. So it's important to know, right? The
Mm-hmm.
delivery, like you were saying.
Yes.
So, I mean, do you want to talk at all about? I mean, are injectable peptides superior, or does it depend on what the peptide?
Yeah, it depends on what it's doing, right?
Okay.
And you know this, right? So like BPC 157 is very well known. Bepicin, it was again underwent commercial drug development,
Hmm.
and the drug can work two different ways. It can be injected, and it can be an amazing healing peptide for for things of it could be joint, it could be tissue, it could be ligament repair, joint tendon repair, it could be inflammatory process, something like that. Injection would be great for that. But if you're really trying to help heal the gut lining, which
Right. Then
again, the body
oral.
protection compound BPC, body protection compound 157, so basically 15 or 16 amino acids, but it can be taken orally, and so that way it can help somewhat heal those tight junctions and the things in the gut lining that you're
Right.
trying to work
And
on.
I'm glad you brought up BPC because this is one of the ones
Oh,
that
total
all
marketing
companies
hype.
are jumping on, and you see
Yep.
so many oral capsules,
Yep.
and there are some liposomal, but I still feel like the liposomal ones are really coming from the physician offices. But again, when you're doing, like you said, when you're doing the, specifically with BPC 157, when you're doing the oral, you're really addressing gut stuff. When people are reaching, but people don't even know that their customers are reaching for BPC because of joint issues,
Right,
like you
exactly.
said, like,
The systemic issues that
right.
they're just
And
not getting
it's
the
not going
benefit.
to,
It's not going to
do
work.
that, but you're paying a pretty penny,
Yeah,
because you've heard about
it's
BPC
expensive.
157 and
Yeah,
so peptide this and peptide that. And yeah, and again, I love it, but personally, when I use it, it's my prescription from my doctor, and it's injectable form. It's done the right way.
yeah.
And again, directly from my physician. Um, and I mean, a con is it's expensive, but
Right. But the raw material's not. So it just shows you again the markup they're doing on
right.
these things.
But safety wise, when it's coming from your physician's office, right?
Sure.
Safety
And
wise, that is the
way better, far superior. Because again, if you get that injectable bottle that's through like a peptide company online, how are you getting that without a prescription?
yeah.
Without like, you know what I mean? Like,
If
so
you're reaching for the black market or the gray area, you
yeah,
gotta question
who made it?
safety.
Where is the testing to show, endotoxin and potency and stability?
Right.
How do you know what conditions it was stored under or shipped under? How do you know there's no contaminant profile, right? Like it can make you very sick.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, oral. And I feel like oral, again, is where we're seeing the most marketing hype, right?
Yeah.
Because supplement companies are jumping on the bandwagon there. We talked about, obviously, how our protein, collagen, and amino acids work and work as,
Yeah.
say, as peptides, become peptides,
Sure,
break
of
down.
course.
Okay.
Right.
Um, and what other oral ones are we seeing out there besides BPC that companies are
Another one that got
trying
like kind of AOD is another one, anti-obesity drug. So that was a drug development product.
and they're putting it in like supplement peptides?
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
that's
for
oral.
supplement.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
oral for sure.
You know what's crazy though? Let me just
AOD, BPC,
while I'm thinking of this,
there's
I
KPV, there's lorazepam.
but even more basic. So I'm thinking of like where other companies are slapping the word on, and there's one that some couple customers have sent me the exact same one, and I believe it's an oil or it's in a dropper form. I'm not exactly sure, but it's salmon. They call it salmon oil, and they're calling and it's big, all about peptides,
Okay.
and it's like there's
Yeah, I have to look
75.
at it. Yeah.
But I mean, when you look just at the ingredients, the peptide they're so-called referring to is like the salmon protein. But
Sperm.
no.
Yeah, because there's a lot of that weird marketing hype around that too. But like there's Semen X, which is like a peptide that would have been originally isolated from sperm. But
Right.
there's there are so many different peptides, and more of them are going to hit the market here in the future. So it's important to know your source of information as well.
Right. Well, we have these right here, and we're
Yeah.
talking about oral, and you understand the type of relationship they have amongst peptides. But when you think about what your body actually needs, and you go to protein, right? It's a complete amino acid profile.
Yep.
Supports your muscle metabolism, satiety, recovery. That's a lot, and that's a lot like of what we're looking for. Sometimes when we reach for like, or the marketing
quick
words
fix?
for the quick fix of maybe a peptide. Think about making sure you're having adequate protein, right? Collagen, structural peptides, joint, skin, connective tissue. I mean, things like this, right? Again, we want that, right? Oh, my joints hurt. I'm going to go for this magical peptide. Well, collagen's a peptide, and just make sure you're taking it daily. And we always talk about it's always great to load, and you can increase the dose if you got things going on, 100%. And then your amino acids, your fast acting. So, common question too of like, why do you need, this is not this topic, but why do you need amino acids and proteins at the same
Together,
time?
right.
Well, your amino acids are free form. They don't have to be digested. They're so rapidly used. They're pre-broken down, rapid absorption, immediately available.
Right.
So amazing for muscle repair, recovery, energy, metabolism. Again, all the stuff that we are searching for, we are wanting is right here. Right? Just make sure you're using it properly. Make sure you're being consistent. Again, taking it daily. Personally, I have 1 scoop and 1 scoop every day, 2 scoops and 2 scoops. Okay, that's how I make sure like my body's getting what it needs. Important. Okay, quickly, just topical. That's mostly, like we said, your skincare, right? You
Local
wouldn't
reaction,
see like all local.
local. It's all local. I mean, there's absorption limitation through skin anyway. It's a barrier. We talked about the Dalton rule, like the weight of the compound. So it depends on the peptide, obviously. So yeah, there's probably some serious limitation and probably a lot of wasted money when it comes to that. But there are some peptides that are designed to be local and can be very beneficial for collagen production or scar healing, different things like that, for sure.
And I feel like I did brush over the liposomal. So liposomal is still oral, right? And
Yes.
since it's going to mouse, but it's faster.
It's trying to protect the compound from degradation in the gut.
Right.
So liposome would be basically like it's something where you can put, say, something that's water loving on the inside, and then the micelle is like a sphere,
Mm-hmm.
and on the outside it's fat loving, so that it can kind of absorb and work through cell membranes, carrying as a carrying molecule
Okay.
the water soluble.
And liposomal, like something would be similar to like our NAD or and methylene blue strips.
Yeah, exactly. But the problem with most liposomal products is they're not truly liposomal. They've gotten characteristics similar to what a liposome can be, but to truly get a drug molecule or a particular molecule into a liposome is really truly a biochemical and pharmaceutical process. Like, it needs to be handled. It's not something that you would just do in a quick throw it up, throw some lecithin in it. I mean, you got to put it through a sonicator, like one of those jewelry cleaner things, where it puts ultrasonic. Like, you have to sonicate, mix it properly. These things have to get put into the micelle, right? They need to be well distributed for them to be effective. I mean, this is really pharmaceutical science, right? This is
Right.
probably not happening at a supplement level,
Right.
especially not happening from some of these small players that are probably in the garage making these products and trying to make it look like they've got a full line.
Right.
So I personally don't I don't put a lot of faith into them and these liposomal products. I think that's a lot of BS, especially when you look at the back of the label and the only thing you see is like sunflower lecithin, water, and the product. And you're like, well, that's what do? You just shake it up. You think it's just now a liposome.
Right. Right.
And so I'm skeptical of that. I think there's a huge amount of money wasted in that category. And yeah, I mean, there's no real telling other than just it probably doesn't work,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. So let's like cut through the noise a bit too, this peptide noise. And what actually works, is kind of what your body actually needs. And
Right.
we don't need more peptides. We don't
Mm-mm.
need more. We need better nutrition.
Better
We need
nutrition.
better lifestyle.
Yep.
We need to be giving our body what it needs regularly on a daily basis.
Yep.
Taking your supplements to fill those gaps that you're lacking from your nutrition, not because you're eating poorly, but because our food isn't what it once was. That's the gaps that we need to fill. We need to be eating properly, filling the gaps since our food is not raised the same way, therefore not as nutritious. We need to be eating enough protein, moving our bodies, right? I mean, I can't like stress all of that enough. So again, it's very common to look for the next best thing and this next marketing hype, and we forget about the real foundation and the real basics of what our body needs. And if you're not doing the foundation, it doesn't matter what you're spending your money on, it's not going to work. You have to start off with this solid foundation of health. And this is something that's achievable by every single one of you, right? Eating well, moving your body, and the basic foundational supplements that with Live Good, us, we bring to you top quality, but at prices you can afford, because we know if we don't make them affordable, you're not going to stay on them, and then you're not going to get the benefits. Biggest thing here. Yeah, I mean, again, you can't think about this in supplements, peptides, all of it. You can't out supplement a body that isn't supported.
Mm.
You need to have the healthy foundation. You need to be
Right.
doing it all. And this goes with everything, supplements, peptides, right? Source matters, quality matters, regulation matters. And remember, if you don't know this stuff, guys, you have to question, what are you doing to yourself? You really do have to question it. You have to be cautious. And that's where you get to if you want the peptides and everyone's going to the black market, they don't want to go to their doctor because it costs more
Yeah.
money
Right.
to see the doctor, get the prescription, so you find the cheaper version of snake oil. Or
Yeah.
whatever, or you don't know.
Yeah, I would certainly say, how do you get them? Well, if you want information, you can follow some of the 503A compounding pharmacies in the country, in the US. They are required to publish true data, basically. So that's better than just the influencer. Talk to your physician. If they're not educated, get a referral, find a network of physicians that practice this type of medicine. And keep in mind that what Lisa and I are saying is not to avoid peptides. We're saying avoid the knockoff versions, avoid the stuff that may not be healthy or good for you. So,
And avoid being scammed just by the
yeah,
marketing
avoid being
term
right,
peptide slapped on something.
right.
But this is, we wanted to really help you understand what a peptide is. So you're not just finding the marketing term. You can actually like look into it a little bit more, read the ingredients.
And the real peptide market is actually pretty exciting. I mean, even like
Very
taking
exciting.
taking some of the stuff like where the aging process is sort of difficult to overcome, but there's secretagogues that we use, and these peptides are powerful for like telling the body to release more growth hormone, increase the pulsatile rate. So it's pretty cool to see that because it ends up putting on more lean muscle. It ends up helps you reduce adipose or fat tissue. So you can really get a lot of gains by working with peptides to the point where a lot would argue they're safer than hormone therapy because a lot of times if you do hormone therapy outside of therapeutic range or super therapeutic dosing, you can do irreparable harm to the body. Whereas these peptides, you can actually stop, discontinue them, and the body will do just fine without them. It's really powerful like stuff. So they can be healing compounds. They can be there's cognition enhancing compounds that we're seeing come out that are probably very influential in the neurodegenerative disease like Alzheimer's, and Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. There's gut healing. There is muscle building. There's weight loss. It's just a wide range of utility and application in the peptide market. So I'm saying to approach it with healthy skepticism on the supplement side, but definitely explore it further on the pharmaceutical side.
Yeah.
What's cool too is with Live Good Clinic, we might be able to tap into that market a little bit and make that more available and accessible for everybody. So stay tuned on
Yeah.
that as well.
Yeah. I mean, again, because it helps customers like you know exactly where to go and how to try and how to trust it. Because again, we hate knowing that everybody's reaching for these things that have no idea what's in them, the efficacy of them, the safety, and you're paying a pretty penny. So yeah. Yeah,
I
we
think we
hope
covered it.
this,
Yeah,
I hope
sure.
this shed some light on it. And I'm glad you reiterated that at the beginning because we are not saying peptides are bad. Peptides are amazing. They're just kind of getting fluffed into anything and everything. Eventually, we're going to be buying drinking water with peptides. I mean, gosh, the way all the marketing's making it happen.
That's right.
Yeah. Questions?
Yeah,
I
sure.
don't know. Did you ever?
I wasn't
I was
watching.
kind of peeking over some, but um, yeah. Just remember again, don't fall for better marketing. Don't fall for better marketing. Always trying to teach you how to.
True Niagen is clinical trials. What are you referring to? Is that nicotinamide riboside though? I think True Niagen.
Yeah.
Just NR.
Yeah.
I mean that's just a precursor to NAD. It's not a peptide. But let's see. Look, most of the peptides originally drug development stemmed from all peptide research, right? I mean, these are naturally occurring compounds that are very easy to make in a synthetic synthesizer, right? You just put in the amino acids, you program it, and it makes the peptide. Very clean. There's no there's no degradants. So there's really very low contaminant profile. Peptides can be very, very good. Confused facts with passion.
Yeah, and like I said, there's certain ones that I use. I do use BBC, not on a regular basis, but in times of a little bit of injury, I called myself from the gym, and that's a prescription from my doctor. GHK copper, it's another one I love for hair help. I'm sure most of you too, I don't know, what changes with females. As we go through, first we have babies and we lose our hair, and then we get into perimenopause and menopause and we lose our hair, and it's a constant battle. So I'm experimenting with the GHK copper with my doctor to see if that can help. But again, do it the right way. Please always do it the right way. And If you need help guidance on finding a physician in your area or a program that does it, definitely reach out to me. And you know, it can be expensive, but this stuff is for your health when you have to go through a doctor. It really makes sense to do it right.
That's
Right?
the way to do it. Absolutely. So we'll do more peptide stuff in the future. This is the first. And we've kind of kept it vague a little bit. We didn't dive into individual peptides because I'm trying to think. Besides the collagen peptides, I mean, and by the way, they're peptides because if a true full collagen protein, it's not digestible. So that's why these are hydrolyzed. If you see the word, it says right there, hydrolyzed collagen. It's a hydrolysis that actually makes the protein smaller, so it's more digestible, and therefore your body can absorb it and access those amino acids. So there's that, and then in our skincare, talking about skincare, we do have a peptide in our skincare. I'll have to go back and look at which ones are there. Probably should have did that before I got on. I just can't remember off the top of my head exactly, but our skincare does contain some peptides. I think it's mostly in the moisturizer.
And again,
Nor in the serum.
when you're getting it
Probably in the serum.
in topical, right? You
Yeah.
know that it's local. So
Yeah.
you're doing something for your skin, not like you're gonna put BPC on you and hope that it gets in your bloodstream, right? So it's
But I absolutely love peptides, and the more that they become accessible, and the more clarity we get, and to see what we can put into supplements and what we can work with to not be a drug claim. We can't get into the drug market, right? It can't be a marketed drug or anything like that, and we cannot. If it is, you cannot use it as a supplement. It's another gray area. You go to Amazon and type in BPC, and you'll see like tons of people selling BPC. Well, I don't know how they're doing that. You know, it could just be that right now they're just getting away with it, but they might get warning letters or told to stop doing it. So we'll see what happens in that area as well. But if we can do cool stuff like that with supplements, we will. If we can bring it through Live Good Supplements, Live Good Clinic. If we can bring it through Live Good Clinic, and we can get you guys access to high quality peptides at an affordable price, and we'll do that as well. So stay tuned.
Yep. And always remember, like Dr. Ryan knows best about the efficacy, the stability, how things work together, the biochemistry, and that's extremely important when you're formulating something, especially
Yeah,
bringing
100%.
in peptides into
Absolutely.
the supplement. So, but thank you guys for watching.
Yep. Thanks for watching, guys.
Any questions? Make sure you email me. And again, don't forget to like and subscribe.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Take care.